Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, my English lecturer and my lovely friends. How are you today? I hope that you feel better. I would like to say thank you for coming these presentations today, and honored to meet you here. Okay, before we go to the presentations today, allow me to introduce myself and my partner. We are from Group 7 or Group G. We will discuss about topic 1, and my name is Novita Sarah, NPM 19040027, and my friends they are.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Liceana Lorenza, NPM 19040009.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Zanilahia, NPM 19040016.
Okay, the first we will discuss about what is testing, assessment, teaching, measurement, and evaluations. A test is an instrument or systematic procedure for observing describing one or more characteristics of a student using either a numerical scale or a classification scheme. And then, as in other definitions, a test, in simple terms, is a method of measuring a person's ability, knowledge, or performance in a given domain. Next, assessment. What is assessment? Assessment is an ongoing process that encompasses a wider domain. In other definition, assessment is a systematic approach for collecting information on a student learning or performance, usually based on various sources of evidence. And then, what is teaching? Teaching is the process of carrying out certain activities that experience has shown to be effective in getting students to learn. Setting up the opportunities for learners to listen, think, take risks, set goals, and process feedback from the coach, and then recycle through the skill that they are trying to master. And then, what is measurement? Measurement is the process of collecting information. Measurement takes place when a test is given and a score is obtained. The measurement is a specific score given by an expert every time when a test is applied. And then, evaluations. Evaluation is the process of interpreting, analyzing, and assessing the data obtained from the test. And then evaluation is a process of delineating, obtaining, and providing useful information for judging decision alternatives. Okay, next, what is the relation between teaching, assessment, and testing? I think that all of the three concepts become involved and related in a learning process like a cycle. First, a teacher must teach the student a certain subject or matter, whether it is a certain grammatical structure, vocabulary, or even a story. Firstly, the teacher has to make sure that learners understand completely the materials that is being given by the teacher. In this stage is in which the four skills reading, writing, speaking, and listening must be practiced. And it is the teacher's work to select the tasks that will be most helpful in order to facilitate the students' learning. The second step would be assessment, because it is used for several purposes. For example, if a student needs more help or presents more trouble than other, the teacher can be provide a personal explanations to compare students among themselves. or compare them to a certain standard. But I think that the main purpose for assessing is for teachers to check if their strategies or methods that are being applied are correctly in an individual or a group way, so they can make corrections or improvement. Because the most important aspect of the learning process is to make sure that the students are understanding and applying what they are learning. And that cannot be fully achieved without assessment, because the teaching process won't be useful if students aren't making any progress at all. And during the assessment, we as teachers have to make the correct observations if any trouble is being presented. A very important thing to mention is that assessment must be carried out during the learning process and not at the end. Because if it is done by the time, the learners won't be able to realize the errors that they are making or what they are lacking, among other things. Therefore, suggestions are a very important thing to consider in this process, because according to this, a student will change their habit or make improvement. At last, teachers should make tests. Students should take the assessment provided by the teacher and the suggestions that were made through the course in order to apply them when the testing comes. Nevertheless, I believe that tests aren't always reliable provider of information about the students' progress, because sometimes they focus more on the thing that student didn't learn or understands, and not on what they did learn. After this last stage, the cycle starts again. And as a teachers, we need to teach again and then make the assessment. Lastly, we should evaluate, but at each stage, we should consider some of the most important points, like the ones mentioned above, in order to make the learning process better, easier, and appropriate for learner.
The next material discusses about the relation of test measurements and evaluation. Relationship between test measurement and evaluation. From the meaning and definition, it is obvious that a term test, measurement, and evaluation are interrelated. The tests are specific instruments for measurement. Administration of a test is a process of measurement. Without test, measurement is not possible. Measurement is a technique necessary for evaluation. It represents status of a certain attributes or properties and is a terminal process. Measurement describes a situation. Evaluation judges its worth of value. Measurement is a technique of evaluation and tests are tools of measurement. The term test, measurement, and evaluation are clearly distinct but related. Teachers obtained measures from tests in order to make fair evaluation about specific traits or characteristics of the students. An evaluation often involves one or more tests, and in time a test is involved with one or more measurements.
Alright, I will explain the material about norm reference and criterion reference tests. Another dichotomy that is important to clarify the terminology in assessment is the distinction between norm reference and criterion reference testing. In norm reference test, each test taker's score is interpreted in relation to mean or average score, median or middle score, standard deviation or extent of variance score, and percentile rank. The purpose in such tests is to place test takers along in the form of numerical score. Criterion reference tests, on the other hand, are designed to give test takers feedback, usually in the form of grades, on specific course or lesson objective. Okay, next. Approaches to language testing. A. Discrete point and integrative testing. Discrete point tests are constructed on the assumption that language can be broken down into its component parts and that those parts can be tested successfully. These components are the skill of listening, speaking, reading, and writing and various units of language or discrete language of phonology, graphology, morphology, lexion, syntax, and discourse. B. Communicative language testing. Communicative testing presents its challenge to test designers. Test constructors began to identify the kinds of real-world tests that language learners were called upon to perform. Where, when, how, with, whom, and why language is to be used and on what topic and with what effect. C. Performance-based assessment. Performance-based assessment of language typically involves oral production, written production, open-ended responses, integrated performance, group performance, and other interactive tests. To be sure, such assessment is time-consuming and therefore expensive, but those extra efforts are paying off in the form of more direct testing because students are assessed as they perform actual or stimulated real-world tests. Thank you.
Okay, the conclusions. Therefore, as a teacher, become more familiar with data-driven instruction. They are making decisions about what and how they teach based on the information gathered from their students. In other words, teachers first find out what their students know and what they do not know. And then teaching, measurement, and evaluation is important for it. Okay, that's all about our presentations today. Thank you for watching this video and sorry for our mistake. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.